welcome back for another exciting side-by-side. I'm your host, Jurassic Ninja. In today's game, we'll be doing a deep dive into Homefront for the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC. Homefront was released March 2011 to slightly above average reviews. Most agreed the story was too damn short, and they're pretty right, it's short. About 4 hours long, but if you take your time, and I mean take your time, you can squeeze 8 hours out of it. I guess this is a good time to talk about who created this game. Well, that would be Chaos Studios. Wait, you haven't heard of them before? They made the popular game Frontline's Fuel of War. Oh, you haven't heard of that either? Well, I don't blame you. It wasn't very good, and in fact, Chaos Studios only made those 2 games. After the unexpected failure of Homefront release, well, not really a failure, but not the numbers they wanted. The studio was shut down by THQ in 2011, but their story doesn't end there. The Homefront team was relocated to THQ's Montreal studio to be the new creative development of the Homefront franchise. And in September 2011, they confirmed a sequel to Homefront called Homefront Revolution. I'm glad it all worked out. But wait, it really didn't. THQ sold the game to Crytek for $544,000 in 2013 because THQ had to file for bankruptcy. It would be Crytek UK who are now responsible for the sequel, but also working alongside Deep Silver. I wish I could stop, but I really can't. Crytek wasn't paying their employees and they stopped working. And there's way more story to this, but what ended up happening is Crytek then sold the rights to Koch Media, a parent company to Deep Silver. Then development duties began with the newly formed Dam Buster Studios in 2014. Now, back to Homefront Part 1. I know, I got carried away there, so Homefront is a first-person shooter telling the story of a resistance movement to stop North Korea from taking full control of the United States. That's crazy, I know, but that's the story. As stated earlier, the single player is short, but with a pretty good story. However, it is a very linear game, and lots of door kicking. It is a fun experience though, so I do recommend playing it. Homefront also came packed in with the multiplayer mode. It is a large-scale vehicle-based versus mode. The dumb part though was the game came with the multiplayer Game Pass, and if you didn't enter the code, you could play online still, but only to level 5 instead of level 75. This was around the time other studios were implementing these stupid online codes to prevent used copies from going online. The Japanese release of the game was censored and all North Korean stuff were removed, and it was straight out banned in South Korea because it depicted a unified Korea under Northern control. They weren't having any of that. Just like I'm not having any of you guys not hitting that like button, so go tap it, click it, you know what to do. The biggest fuck up THQ did was release 10,000 balloons near San Francisco as a publicity stunt during the game's developers conference. This angered many and balloons filled the seas, yards, streets, there was just balloons everywhere. It was a disaster. Moving into the frame rate, both PS3 and 360 are generally 30 frames per second, with PS3 having slightly less FPS, but that's only because it implements VSync to reduce screen tearing, where the 360 doesn't use VSync at all, and it offers up a ton more screen tearing versus the PlayStation 3. The Xbox 360 version also implements 2x MSAA to help smooth out all those jaggies, while the PS3 decides to not use anything. Both the PS3 and 360 run at a resolution of 1024 by 576, which is just terrible. But it's what we got. I played Homefront on PC using the BigBigWon Rainbow RGB controller. This isn't a paid advertising, I did get it for free, and I do have to say, it's a pretty nice controller. If you want to see the full review of this thing, stay tuned till the end of the video. I also review a USB dongle that you can use Xbox One on PS4, or all kinds of crazy antics. Now let's compare some gameplay. The first shot of the game is the iconic American flag. The PS3 is very bright compared to the other 3. Oh yeah, I'm comparing the PC on lowest and highest settings as well. I wanted to show this shot to show the PC and 360 have the room dark and PS3 is just bright. But also the textures on the ceiling are better on PS3 versus the 360. Then I noticed the 360 has a texture pop-in. Look at that brick wall. That's pretty bad. I thought, well, the PS3 did install and I am running the 360 off disk, so I installed the game to the 360's hard drive and this is what I got. I got texture pop-in, but it is faster. Faster by 2 seconds. I guess that's something. Looking at the 360 and Ultra, you can see some light glow from the window, but not really on the PS3 or low graphics. Zooming in, the 360 is showing better anti-aliasing, because the PS3 doesn't have any. Zooming in again, the PS3 is a bit more blurry here, and the low graphics pretty much suck. Looking outside, the top of this church on PS3 is comparable to low PC settings. Also, I feel like you can see more individual leaves on the 360 versus the PS3 in this tree. The biggest difference is about to appear. This guy on PS3 is ultra contrasty and oversaturated. The texture on his helmet is way better though. Also, the PS3 guy doesn't look at the camera, he's just kind of looking off to the side. Now he's looking at us. The 360's face mask isn't very good. Could be a texture pop-in thing that never had enough time to pop in, I don't really know. It's just odd that the PS3 is so different here. The rest of the game doesn't offer any extreme differences like this, at least nothing that I saw. Looking out of the bus window, the Xbox 360 is the blurriest. I think it's because the window shows more smudges. I do believe the entire shot is more blurry on the 360 versus PS3. Also, the blood only looks good on Ultra PC settings. Then we zoom in on his face. The 360 guy's mouth is off to the side, where Ultra and Low have his mouth open with the teeth touching. The PS3 has the mouth open, but the teeth, they're not touching. Let's remove Low settings now. When this guy gets close to the camera, all three have him looking in different places. It's subtle, but they're in different places. When leaving the bus, I noticed the stepladder was less visible on Xbox. Also, the fence in the background is worse too. Seems the PS3 and 360 swap on who's better. The PS3 shows less detail in the grass. Also, on the bush, less detail. Then zooming in again, look at this 2x4, a jaggy mess on the PlayStation 3. The airplane here on Ultra is extremely detailed. You lose all of that on the consoles. When zooming in on this shot, I feel the PS3 is less blurry than the 360. You can really tell the Xbox's tree shows more detail on the trunk and on the leaves. Obviously, this is a very difficult game to compare as they're so damn similar. Well, the console versions that is. The PC is by far the way to go when playing this game. I really can't recommend playing this on PS3 or 360, it's just so poorly optimized. Well, that's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, please do leave a like, subscribe, and thank you for watching, and you guys have a great day. Now, before the controller, I do want to say that I'm going to do this review for the average consumer. So anything that's like super technical, I'm just going to write all that stuff in the description below if you want to know more technical specs. And most of it's just going to be copy and pasted from their website and stuff. So what's nice about this controller, one, is, of course, sexy RGBs. I mean, it just pulses into different colors. You can change the colors anytime you want, turn it off if you want to. There's this little F button back here that says FN. It works sweet. Now, one thing I do love about this, hold on, let me turn this back on here. There we go. One thing I love about this controller is it's got built-in gyros. So what you saw in my Homefront video earlier was I was aiming with the gyros. Now I don't generally like to do that. There's a lot of people who do. It's really more precise. But I gotta tell you, it was super sweet and really enjoyable just to have that option. Super easy to turn off and on. All you do is press the FN button and then you press like the trigger there for this gyros on the left stick, or FN and press that one down for the gyros on that function. But there's also all kinds of other sweet things you could do this. You could do macros with So basically everything has to do with the FN button and holding a different button. Now the set macros, you're gonna have these little buttons back here, and you can set like some special moves or macros to go off, and it's super cool. There's also turbo mode. You can make your controller turbo, and you can set what kind of turbo speeds and everything like that. Another thing I liked about this was I played Street Fighter 4 on this, and I did have a hard time with the D-pad playing that. The D-pad, it's an average D-pad. It's not a bad D-pad. It's not a great D-pad. But when I was doing all my moves and combos with the joystick, which I personally prefer on any controller as a joystick, I'm just better at it. I had no issues doing any move. It worked flawlessly. There was no latency lag or anything. Then when I played it on Homefront without the gyros, I felt it was perfect controller. I mean, at first this RGB glow did distract me, but you do get used to it. And when the lights are all off and it's dark, it's just nice to have your room all glowing and from these lights and stuff. It's really sweet. There's a lot of functionality to this controller. You can do a lot with it. I highly recommend it. It's a sweet, sweet controller. It's not wireless. That's my biggest gripe. It only works for the Switch and PC, another gripe, but that's fine too because I'm more of a PC gamer guy. Now, I don't really know the price. I'd say if this controller is $50 and under, it's a sweet deal. I would buy it. If it's over $50, it's really up to you. I do think it's a sweet controller, but it's not wireless. And any controller that's not wireless over $50, I don't really see why anyone would want to buy one for that price. Everything about this is just high quality, super tough plastic. It feels strong and tight. Doesn't feel like the cheap knockoff plastic crap that you get from Chinese places. I mean, this could be a Chinese product. I don't really know, but it's not cheap. That's the idea here. It's a sweet controller. Let's talk about this here dongle. This dongle is super sweet. So basically, it works like any other dongles you see on the internet, where I'll plug this into my PS4, sync up the Xbox One controller, and I can use the Xbox One controller on my PS4. Or what I love to do with it is hook this up to my PC and sync up a PS4 controller. Now this can also do the PS5 controllers and Xbox Series X controllers also. You can play PS4, PS5, Series X, and you can do all of those on the Switch or the PC or the PS4, PS5. You just can't use this on any Xbox console according to the back of the box, which is kind of weird. Also, you can't use it on the PS3. So I know there are some dongles out there that work on the PS3, so I was a little sad about that because I still actively use my PlayStation 3, but that's a small thing. I mean, it's just only like $17, so I do recommend this dongle. It's super fast to work with, by the way. I put this in the PS4, it started blinking right away. I put the Xbox One controller in the sync mode and it synced immediately. So easy. Same with the PC with the PS4 controller, synced up right away. And I'm going to leave links to these in the description below. They're not affiliated links. I'm not going to make any money on them, so don't worry about that. If you want them, you can buy them. If you don't, you don't. It doesn't help the channel or anything, but they did give these to me for free to review. That's what this is. I didn't make a separate review for these because I wanted them to get the most exposure as possible, and I think putting it on my side-by-side video is more exposure than a standalone video, but we'll see how that works out. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the Homefront side-by-side. If you made it this far, I hope you enjoyed the review of this controller and dongle. Thanks again. Take it easy.